All right, let's dive deep into the latest from the San Francisco 49ers as they kicked off their mandatory minicamp, marking a crucial moment in their offseason before training camp officially begins at the end of July. This minicamp is the final opportunity for the team to come together on the practice field. And there's a lot to unpack, especially when it comes to injuries, player development, and the overall vibe heading into the new season. First up, Brandon Aiyuk is a major storyline. After stirring the pot on social media last week with that post featuring Terrell Owens and hinting at some dissatisfaction despite recently signing a contract extension, all eyes were on him during minicamp. What stood out was that although he wasn't in full team gear and certainly not at full speed, he was out there jogging and running some mock routes at about 10 to 20% effort, considering he's coming back from a serious ACL injury, one that saw him tear 3 ligaments in his knee last October. It's encouraging to see him moving around and engaged with the team. The concern with ACL injuries is always whether the injured leg loses muscle mass due to inactivity, but from what was visible, Aiyuk's leg looked solid, showing no signs of atrophy, which is a positive sign for his rehab process. Kyle Shanahan was clear that Aiyuk won't be ready for training camp, which is no surprise given the severity of his injury and the recovery timeline. Comparing him to other players like Stefon Diggs, who returned from ACL tears and were back in voluntary team activities earlier, doesn't quite fit here because Aiyuk's injury was much more severe, involving multiple ligaments, and not every player rebounds at the same rate from such damage. The takeaway is that while the timeline remains uncertain, the signs point to steady progress. Aiyuk being at the facility, involved with his teammates, and even helping out behind the scenes with coaching during his rehab, reflects a positive mental and physical state as he moves forward. Other players also dealing with ACL recoveries like Malik Mustafa and Curtis Robinson were absent from the field, reinforcing how serious these injuries are. The team is cautious, and rightly so. For the 7th-round quarterback Curtis Rohr, who was drafted out of Indiana, the focus is also on health and readiness as he works to make his mark. Ricky Pero's situation raises some eyebrows. Shanahan mentioned he was healthy enough to participate in the minicamp, yet he wasn't on the field. Pero, entering his 2nd year, has struggled with injuries, hamstring issues last offseason and this one, and then that gunshot wound sidelined him even further. His skill set is undeniable. His footwork, route running, and ability to gain yards after the catch stand out, but durability and consistency are big question marks. He missed valuable reps that help build timing and chemistry with Brock Purdy, the starting quarterback, which is critical for any wide receiver looking to make an impact. Pero's challenge is not just recovering, but also proving he can stay healthy, get stronger, and master the finer points of playing wide receiver at a professional level. Looking ahead to training camp, many players are expected to be ready, except for those nursing injuries like Pero. Wide receiver Jawan Jennings is dealing with a calf issue. Defensive end Mike Williams has a hamstring concern. Defensive tackle Alfred Collins is also sidelined with a calf injury. And offensive tackle Andre Dillard is coming off an ankle scope. Safety Gear Brown and George Odom are both recovering from ankle and knee procedures, respectively. And defensive lineman Ben Uros Moss is out with another knee injury. Depth is crucial, especially on the defensive line, and injuries there could present challenges. There might be some worry given that the team's recent draft picks like Mike Williams and Alfred Collins are already battling injuries, but it's worth noting Williams' tight hamstring is not serious, and he's expected to be full go for training camp. Collins, a 2nd-round pick, hasn't yet been seen on the field, so his status remains something to watch. Kicker Jake Moody also got attention during minicamp. He made 6 out of 7 field goals, trying out a new kicking approach that's a bit different from the traditional routine. Instead of the usual 3 steps back and 2 steps sideways, Moody's method involves 2 steps back with a slight shift of his left leg before taking 2 steps forward to kick. It's unclear if this adjustment is about simplifying the process or reducing mental clutter, but after a tough season last year where he missed some short and medium kicks, any tweak is worth monitoring. At the end of the day, what matters most is how he performs in games under pressure. not just practice numbers. Some familiar faces like Trent Williams and Nick Bosa were also present during minicamp and OTAs, adding experience and leadership to the team. Trent Williams spoke publicly for the first time this offseason, addressing rumors about retirement. He said he could see himself playing until he's 41 and has been taking things year by year. This offseason marks the first time in a decade he's fully participated in OTAs, which bodes well for his conditioning and readiness. He also praised the draft class, noting several players who look like they'll contribute right away, especially on defense where the team might have as many as 5 rookie starters. Williams shared his thoughts on Brock Purdy's contract extension, calling it a true Cinderella story and highlighting Purdy's potential to win many games. It's encouraging to see such strong endorsements from veterans, especially from a player as respected as Williams. Despite only playing 10 games last season and giving up some pressures, his return to the field in good shape is a big boost. For the team, the trade for Bryce Huff was another hot topic. Shanahan described Huff as a speed demon off the edge, the kind of player who forces running backs or chip blocks opposite Nick Bosa, creating havoc for opposing quarterbacks. Huff's presence is expected to boost the pass rush, bringing back a dynamic similar to the team's 2019 Super Bowl run when they had that relentless defensive edge pressure. Huff's ability to get a quick jump off the ball and bend the edge is what makes him so dangerous, and pairing him with Bosa should create plenty of sacks and disruption. Huff's pass rush win rate is elite, and Shanahan believes he could be the best pass rusher the 49ers have had since DeForest Buckner. The combination of Huff's speed and Bosa's power means quarterbacks won't have an easy time stepping up in the pocket, which often leads to big defensive plays. Alongside other players like Mike Williams and Alfred Collins, plus the presence of CJ West disrupting plays, the pass rush unit is shaping up to be a much stronger, more consistent force than last year. Huff's transition from the Jets to the 49ers is also interesting. With the Jets, he lined up in a 3-point stance and played as a down lineman, which limited his natural explosiveness. In San Francisco's system, under Robert Saleh, Huff thrives as a stand-up edge rusher, letting him fully use his speed and agility. His 10 sacks and 67 pressures in 2023 prove how impactful he can be when used correctly, especially in passing situations on long downs. On the offensive side, second-year wide receiver Jacob Cowing has impressed during the offseason and OTAs. Shanahan praised him for putting in serious work, and it's starting to show on the practice field. With a 44 speed and a knack for making plays downfield, Cowing could be a key contributor this season. Along with Jordan Watkins and Demarcus Robinson, who can stretch the field with catches over 16 yards, the 49ers might actually be a faster, more explosive team in 2025 compared to previous years. Brock Purdy, meanwhile, had a couple of interceptions during practice, something that's not unusual for him in the offseason as he works through his rhythm. Shanahan pointed out that quarterbacks who never throw picks in practice might not be pushing themselves enough. To improve, Purdy is known as a gamer who thrives when the stakes are high, able to read defenses and improvise during live games. His aggressive approach, testing arm strength and fitting balls into tight windows, shows he's aiming to get better, and Shanahan supports that mindset. With all this activity, the 49ers are clearly working hard to rebound from a disappointing season. The mix of veteran leadership, promising rookies, and players fighting to prove themselves makes this offseason full of potential. The focus on health and readiness is critical, and every player stepping onto that field during minicamp sends a message that the team is gearing up for a strong comeback. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A seismic tremor has rippled through the San Francisco 49ers faithful this week, fueled by a sensational, albeit unconfirmed, whisper involving defensive behemoth Nick Bosa. The rumor mill, churning with unprecedented velocity, suggests Bosa has privately, or perhaps not so privately, expressed a desire to no longer share the locker room or the field with superstar running back Christian McCaffrey. If true, This bombshell revelation could plunge the usually harmonious 49ers into an unforeseen crisis. The exact nature of Bosa's alleged discontent remains shrouded in mystery, with sources close to the situation offering only cryptic hints. Some speculate a clash of personalities, others point to potential strategic disagreements over offensive and defensive priorities, while a more outlandish theory posits a competitive friction, with Bosa feeling overshadowed by McCaffrey's undeniable offensive prowess. Regardless of the underlying cause, the mere suggestion of such a rift between two of the team's undisputed pillars sends shivers down the spines of the faithful. McCaffrey, a transformative force since his arrival in San Francisco, has been instrumental in the 49ers' recent successes, providing a dual-threat dynamism that has terrorized opposing defenses. Bosa, on the other hand, is the bedrock of their elite defense, a relentless pass rusher whose presence alone elevates the entire unit. The thought of either player departing, let alone a situation where one forces the other out, is almost unfathomable for a franchise with Super Bowl aspirations. The 49ers front office has remained tight-lipped, issuing no official statement to quell the mounting speculation. This silence, however, has only served to fan the flames of uncertainty, allowing the rumor to metastasize across sports talk shows and social media. Coaches are reportedly holding impromptu meetings, and the locker room atmosphere is said to be noticeably tense, a stark contrast to the usual camaraderie that defines this successful team. While it's crucial to underscore that these are, at present, merely whispers and conjecture, the potential implications are staggering. A disgruntled Bosa could demand a trade, or worse, stage a holdout, creating an irreparable fracture within the organization. Conversely, if McCaffrey is indeed the target of Bosa's alleged dissatisfaction, the team would face an agonizing decision regarding one of their most valuable assets. The coming days and weeks will be critical as the 49ers navigate this brewing storm, desperately hoping to extinguish the flames of this unprecedented internal strife before it consumes their championship dreams. The football world watches with bated breath, wondering if this is merely a tempest in a teapot or the harbinger of a monumental shift in the Bay Area. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.